Welcome back to the Wanderer's Compass. Have you ever noticed that perfectly ordered systems don't just fail, they absolutely shatter? As a lead systems architect, I spend a ton of time figuring out why things break. And I'll let you in on a little secret. It's almost never because of too much chaos. It's almost always because of too much rigid order. So in today's explainer, we're diving into exactly why that happens and how the ancient archetype of the holy fool actually acts as a vital system reboot.
Think about it. When an operating system gets too rigid, it doesn't bend under pressure, it completely cracks. And this isn't just true for computer networks or massive social bureaucracies. This is a fatal flaw built right into our own cognitive hardware. We humans absolutely crave stability, right? But in doing so, we essentially engineer our own obsolescence by stripping out the very flexibility we need to survive in a volatile world.
This brings us to the core of the problem, the left brain interpreter. Building on Iain McGilchrist's hemispheric brain theory, I want you to think of your brain's left hemisphere like a totally arrogant video game render engine. It creates this highly simplified, static one, a false reality. It constantly mistakes the map for the actual territory, demanding total absolute order. Any real-world data that doesn't fit its prepackaged script, it just outright rejects it. It literally builds a low-resolution world and traps us inside it.
Section 1. The History of Holy Fools, or as I like to call it, the glitch in the system. To stop this neurological rendering engine from causing a complete societal crash, human history has actually relied on a very specific type of cultural malware for centuries, and that malware is the holy fool. We can trace the lineage of the holy fool across completely different eras. These tricksters acted as necessary glitches to interrupt a frozen societal operating system. We're talking about the Byzantine Salos in the 6th century, the Russian Yurodivye in the 16th century, all the way up to the philosophical rascals of the 20th century. These individuals specialized in holy lunacy. They broke the rules on purpose just to keep the system breathing.
Let's look at the 6th century for a second. There was this monk, Simeon of Emesa, who intentionally provoked massive public outrage by dragging a dead dog into the city, literally tied to his belt. I mean, can you imagine? But why did he do it? He used extreme shock to completely short-circuit the religious elite's rigid rules. He threw nuts at the congregation, ate meat on fast days, and totally destroyed his own worldly prestige just to free himself from the illusion of worldly passions.
Fast forward to medieval Russia, and we run into the Yurodivy, who are basically the only people immune from monarchical reprisal. Take Nicholas the Fool. He completely paralyzed Tsar Ivan the Terrible's left-brain logic by offering him a piece of raw meat. When the Tsar refused, saying he was a good Christian who didn't eat meat during Lent, Nicholas just pointed out the insane hypocrisy of fasting while marching to slaughter the innocent citizens of Pskov. That single, localized microshock literally stopped a bloody massacre.
And then, much more recently, we have the philosopher Alan Watts embodying this exact same archetype. Operating out of his bohemian wooden yurt library over in Muir Woods, Watts used this incredible Zen cosmic laughter to dismantle Western hyper-rationalism. He liked to call himself a philosophical entertainer, a wild card in the pack. His famous laugh wasn't just a chuckle. It represented the sudden, absolute cognitive collapse of rigid mental illusions.
Watts absolutely loved this axiom from the linguist Alfred Korzybski. The word is not the thing. He chanted it playfully because it perfectly illustrates that our rigid mental labels are really just a low-resolution render. They are not the living, breathing flow of reality. You literally have to empty your mind of rigid opinions to experience the actual territory.
All right, Section 2, the edge of chaos and the systems physics of disorder. Let's step out of the history books for a minute and into hard systems physics, because we need to understand why this foolishness is actually scientifically necessary for survival.
The theoretical biologist Stuart Kauffman showed that complex systems only ever evolve when they're tightrope walking on what he calls the edge of chaos. Think of it as a liquid phase transition. It's caught right in that sweet spot between the solid, frozen stasis of tyrannical order and the incoherent gas of total destruction. If you lock every atom in place, the system just stagnates. But if they tumble completely randomly, the whole thing is destroyed. You absolutely need to find that liquid state.
Nassim Taleb refers to this exact dynamic as antifragility. Now, a fragile system breaks under stress, right? And a resilient system just resists and bounces back. It tries to stay exactly the same. But a truly healthy, anti-fragile system doesn't just survive volatility. It actually uses those small stressors, shocks, and bits of randomness to grow stronger and evolve.
Which brings us right to Ashby's law of requisite variety.
W. Ross Ashby famously dictated that only variety can destroy variety. Basically, this means that a hyper-regulated porcelain system is going to inevitably collapse under external stress unless it has built-in internal flexibility. You absolutely must have localized microshocks to absorb the infinite variety of the real world.
You see, fragile systems try to eliminate all chaos, but nature really doesn't like that, and depriving a system of stressors inevitably leads to massive, catastrophic black swan collapses. Antifragile systems, on the other hand, use localized microshocks to continuously recalibrate themselves. And that's exactly why the Holy Fool is the ultimate antifragile mechanism. They inject just enough small, localized chaos to prevent the entire societal system from ossifying and breaking apart.
Section 3. The Neurological Reset and Escaping the Demiurge. So, how exactly does this trickster protocol force a reboot in our neural architecture? Let's break it down. Using our foundational 0-1 framework, we can clearly see the architecture of understanding here. The 0 is pure potential, the unknowing, the living, free-flowing nature of the Tao. If we echo Spinoza's monism, it's that single, infinite substance governed entirely by right-brain context. Then you have the 1, which is manifestation, knowing, and matter. The problem is, our arrogant left brain acts like agnostic demiurge. It traps us in the harsh, static 1, severing us from the unmanifested potential of the 0. It wants to control everything, but at the cost of experiencing actual reality.
Enter the trickster protocol. When a holy fool drops a joke, acts completely out of bounds, or hits you with a Zen koan, it triggers a literal system overload. It causes immediate left brain paralysis. That rigid render engine completely crashes, which forces a rapid shift back to your right hemisphere's contextual wisdom. It reboots your cognitive system back to 0, finally allowing you to see the world exactly as it is.
Which brings us to Section 4, the Sovereign Protocol and Operating as the Bridge. Let's take all of this out of the theoretical realm for a second and give you some daily operational steps so you can stop being a victim of your own rendering engine.
Here is the Sovereign Protocol in 3 steps. First, recognize your rigid mental render. Catch yourself treating the map as the territory. Second, inject a localized microshock. Use humor, laugh at the cosmic joke, or just embrace a paradox when you find one. And third, act as the bridge. By consciously following these 3 steps, you use small-scale chaos constructively. You're actively translating that pure potential of 0 into a fluid, adaptive, and completely anti-fragile reality.
Section 5, Becoming the Bridge and the Sovereign Self. Because ultimately, this is the entire goal of the explainer we're unpacking today.
This is what it actually means to live as the sovereign bridge. You are mediating the flow between eternal order and manifested matter, without ever getting trapped in the illusion of the render. If you want to dive deeper into this framework, I highly recommend reading the full paper and stepping into the vault at journey.czx.xyz. But whatever you do, always remember our core channel directives. Check the renders, document the source code, stay limber, abide, and keep wandering.
So, I want to leave you with one final question to chew on today. Are you actually living in reality, or are you just stuck in a prepackaged script you forgot how to exit? Ask yourself, are you writing the code, or is the code writing you? Until next time, embrace a little chaos, laugh at the joke, and keep your systems anti-fragile.